Hey, what's up? So today I decided to upgrade the CPU cooler of my system back there. I'm running the Ryzen 7 7700 in there, and I've been using AMD's Wraith Prism CPU cooler with the 7700 till today. And to be honest, the Wraith Prism has provided me with decent enough performance. I actually have a dedicated video where I've tested the performance of the Wraith Prism at a bunch of different CPU settings, which you can check out if you are interested. Now the 7700 is actually a 65 watt TDP out of the box CPU. However, if you want to unlock the 7700 at its full potential by enabling PBO overclocking and all, the Red Prism starts to struggle a lot. Also, games nowadays are becoming more and more CPU intensive, and once you turn on that ray tracing button, things really start to get toasty. Hence my desire to upgrade my cooler. So after much research, I decided to go with Deepcool's AG620 G2 ARGB CPU cooler. Now this one is a dual tower CPU cooler and it comes with two ARGB 120mm fans. Now Deepcool actually offers a number of variants for the AG620 model, all of them similar in performance, and the only difference among them is their aesthetics. Now the G2 version that I've selected comes with top covers and see-through fan brackets, which is usually reserved for the much more premium AK series. You'll of course get to see them once I unbox this cooler. However, I'm a little bit concerned about something. You see, the cabinet that I have back there is the MSI Mag Forge 120A airflow, which supports a maximum CPU air cooler height of 160mm, whereas this one, due to its added aesthetics, has a maximum height of 159mm. That leaves only 1mm of clearance, and I believe things will get a lot tight in there. So let's see if it actually fits in that case. And those of you who have this case and want to purchase this cooler, this will be a decisive video where you will get your answer whether this cooler actually fits in this cabinet. But before I unbox this one and take apart my build, I will for the last time test the Wraith Prism at a bunch of different CPU settings, because we will be needing those values to compare the performance of the AG620 and see what kind of improvement we get. Deepcool actually advertises this one of having a cooling capacity of 260 watts, which is kind of an overkill for the 7700. So let's quickly test the Wraith Prism, then unbox this one and get this one installed in our system. Alright, with the Wraith Prism still in there, I have kept everything at default settings. The ideal temps are at around 50 degrees, and mind you, this is with the Wraith Prism at its high speed mode, and it spins at 2500 RPM even on idle. Let's stress the CPU. The temperatures will gradually climb, but the cooler spins at a whopping 3600 RPM, which makes it sound like I'm sitting beside a jet engine. Of course, we'll be hitting the power limit at default settings. Let's check out the final scores. 17,423 points. These are the summary of the first run. So for the second run, I have enabled PBO and overclocked the CPU by 200 MHz to push the Prism at its absolute limits. Alright, the clocks are obviously higher because the power limit is lifted and the processor is drawing massive power till it hits the thermal junction maximum temperature, which is 95 degrees. So the score at the end of this run is 18,570 points. Let's update our chart. Alright, finally, I have enabled curve optimizer by a value of -30. This should allow the processor to boost to higher clocks without much increase in power draw. So, the score with curve optimizer enabled is 19,314 points. The CPU really stretched its legs here. I'll be comparing this set of data to that of the AG620. So, let's go ahead with the unboxing. I purchased this cooler from Computex store for 2,950 rupees, which is a pretty good deal for a cooler like this one. Let's get it out of the box. Some protective foam coverings. Let's remove them. Pretty decent packaging in my opinion. Really looks like a heavy duty CPU air cooler. Comes with two 120mm ARGB fans. These are the top covers that I was talking about. provides a good aesthetic of the cooler when viewed from outside of a case. These cables are daisy chained for the two fans, one for the CPU fan header and another is an ARGB header. This is for fan, and the ARGB header is actually covered, and you need to remove it to expose the pins. This is the ARGB header which goes into the motherboard's ARGB port. The cooler has got 6 heat pipes, which is pretty standard for a dual tower cooler like this one. So let's get this one installed in our system. First, let's get the GPU out of the way. Okay, now to remove the Wraith Prism, carefully unhook the handles and remove the fan header. The Wraith Prism actually got 4 direct contact heat pipes. This is how it looks once it is removed. Let's clean the leftover thermal paste. Now to remove the AM5 fan mounting bracket. Alright. Now these are some standoffs which you need to place like this. We'll be using the D hole for AM5. You need to align it with the standoffs like this and screw them in. Deepcool provides some thermal paste, which would have been more convenient if it came in a tube, but we'll have to make do with whatever they provided. Remove the protective covering. Deepcool claims better and more optimized cooling with their Core Touch Technology 2.0. The heat pipes run through this nickel-plated cold plate. This cooler has a RAM clearance of 45mm, so if your RAM is taller than that, you may need to raise the overhanging fan, which will increase the overall height of the cooler. Now, remember to take out the middle fan before installing the cooler to access the screws properly. Now, to screw the cooler in place and slide the second fan in. There you go. Tighten those clips and the fan is locked in place. Now for the daisy chain cables, place them in the appropriate motherboard header and we're done. Get the GPU back in. Now to see if the clearance is enough. Well, looks like the clearance advertisement for the case are absolutely spot on. The cooler fits perfectly without any interference. Now for the moment of truth. Alright. Okay, this looks good. I'm so glad I picked up the G2 variant and not the plain AG620 ARGB, which doesn't actually come with the top cover and the C2 fan brackets. This small addition actually makes a huge difference in looks and aesthetics. So let's now see how it performs. Just like we did with the Wraith Prism, let's start with everything at default stock settings. The idle temps are at around 45 degrees. Now stressing the CPU, we're getting around 4.6 GHz. And just as it was the case with the Wraith Prism at these settings, we are hitting the power limit. The scores with these default settings is 17,724 points. The CPU ran 6 degrees cooler and we got around 300 points better scores. And I must add, the cooler is dead silent, can't hear a thing really. For the next run, enabling PBO and overclocking the CPU by 200 MHz. Let's start the run. The temperatures are not hitting TJ max yet. In fact, they are staying below 90 degrees, whereas the Prism crossed the 90 degree mark as soon as we started the run. The clocks are also a lot better. The fans are spinning at 2100 RPM, which is their maximum possible RPM. Let's move on to the scores.
Just like the previous run, we are able to achieve around 300 points more compared to the Wraith Prism while running 5 degrees cooler. And we didn't even hit TJ max in this run. Finally, let's enable Curve Optimizer to a value of -30 and see how things go. This is how things start. 5.2 GHz. More than 5.2 GHz actually. The temperatures are a little bit warmer compared to previous run. As for the scores, 19,547 points. Honestly, I was expecting a little bit better results in this run, but maybe we are starting to hit the CPU's silicon limit when it comes to the max boost clocks, as we are averaging close to the maximum boost clocks for the CPU, which is 5.3 GHz. The AG620 is an excellent air cooler and provides great price to performance value. I believe this is mostly suited for 8-core Ryzen 7 processors, as it is able to extract the most out of these processors while keeping temperatures at tolerable limits. However, what stood out to me is the noise, which is actually non-existent to be honest, and is a massive upgrade over the Wraith Prism. This cooler runs dead silent, so you can enjoy your gaming sessions without being distracted by the sound of a leaf blower beside you. So that's all for this video. Do leave your opinion on the cooler in the comments, and if you like this video, please leave a like and maybe consider subscribing. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.